Everyone's talking about the world's first regulated AI law firm, but I wanted to go deeper. So I've created an exclusive podcast series that goes beyond the buzz. Over the next few episodes, I'll be sitting down with the CEO, Philip Young of Garfield Law. We've put together the most pressing questions from professionals across the legal industry, and we're addressing them in this series. In this episode, I find out how the global legal industry actually responded to the news of the first AI-driven law firm to be regulated.
One of the takeaways I've taken from this chat with you, Holly, is that I need to go and get a haircut pretty urgently.
I'm going to ask you a serious question now.
Regardless of AI laws, when it was written, no one ever contemplated that there might ever be legal services provided by AI.
Everything's going wrong. It's like Frankenstein. You've invented this thing and it's just going crazy.
Yeah, I'd like to get away from the word Frankenstein though.
That's hilarious. A landmark moment for the legal industry. The Solicitors Regulatory Authority has officially authorised Garfield Law, the first ever AI-generated law firm to be regulated and provide legal services in England and Wales. This isn't just another law firm using AI to streamline admin. Garfield Law is entirely AI-driven, offering small businesses an AI litigation assistant to recover unpaid debts, guiding them through the small claims process all the way to trial. So, Philip, I'm really excited to have you back for round 2, because I feel like round 1, everybody was asking me questions and wanted to know more information, and I feel like we can clarify those points in this episode. So how is it going with Garfield, and what has the response been both in the UK and internationally?
Well, hello again, Holly. And so I suppose I'd say me again, and I hope that your viewers are not horrified by that. Yeah, so the response has been really interesting, and it's been very kind. So since we launched, and when I say we launched, I really mean that we were sort of launched for us, because you remember last time I spoke about my desire to do a sort of secret stealth launch over 6 months. We've had emails and interest from all over the world. It's been really fascinating, actually, the number of mostly lawyers from other jurisdictions who've reached out and said, really like what you're trying to do, and yeah, we think it's the future, and usually followed by, can we use Garfield in our jurisdiction, or can we buy Garfield to use here or license it in some way? Which is very flattering, and it's been from all over the place. I mean, we've had emails from Ecuador, Taiwan, Australia, America, other European countries, you name it. Interestingly enough, if there's been a sort of a nexus of majority of inquiries, it's come from Australia, of all places. And I don't know if that's because Australia is unusually innovative as a legal jurisdiction, or whether it's just because we're a fellow common law jurisdiction, so there's similarities. But certainly a lot of other lawyers I've spoken to who are sort of interested in tech transnationally have said Australia is unusually innovative. And I've offered them all basically the same response, which is that at the moment we're focused solely on England and Wales. At some point we will look to go more international, but there's obviously quite a lot of things we would need to achieve to do that. And one of them is making sure that regulation in other jurisdictions is as favourable as is here in England. Also, other stakeholders would have to be in favour, like the judiciary in other countries, and we'd also, of course, need to adapt the product, because it's built very much for the English and Welsh court system, applying our substantive law and our procedural law. I think it'd be easier to adapt it for other common law jurisdictions first, rather than civil law jurisdictions. So I've been sort of offering that sort of stalling response to everyone so far. I think the other interesting thing about the reaction has been the reaction of our profession. And I don't think I'm speaking out of school when I say that lawyers, we're a little bit small c conservative, aren't we? We like evolution, not revolution. But I've been really touched by the positivity of the response, not just sort of younger lawyers who you'd expect to be more forward thinking, but also dinosaurs like myself, who have been around since the Cretaceous period, and have responded very nicely and said, this is great, it's good for access to justice, it's clearly the sort of thing that's going to be needed in the future. And there hasn't been that much negativity, really, and I was expecting more, to be honest. I was expecting a bit more negativity. Obviously, because of the number of court cases about hallucinations, there's been sort of discussion of that in an AI context. But I think people are reassured that we've been mindful of that since the day we first started building the product 2 years ago. And if anything, Garfield is sort of a response to that, sort of preemptive response, because we want to be in a world where there's regulated legal products available, not just unregulated ones. So far the reaction's been really kind and it's been really good, and no one's sort of tracked me down and thrown bricks at me or anything like that. So positivity.
Yeah. No, definitely. I am also surprised at the positivity of the feedback, because when I first heard the news and when I first spoke to you, I thought this is going to cause uproar because it's a completely disrupting the industry, and people, like you say, well, lawyers will say, don't really like the disruption. So I also have heard a lot of great things, and people seem to be more excited, which is good, as opposed to fearful. They're more thinking, oh, okay, yeah, this is interesting. And what I think is a massive factor in all of this, by the way, because I've spoken to people about Garfield within the industry, a lot of people actually, and about you specifically.
Oh,
and
God. Oh, no. Is this the time I have to go off and commit Harry Carey or something, or Harry Kiri?
And I think the key influence of positivity, we'll say, is the fact that you are so, what's the word? I'm going to say
loopy.
Yeah, they just look at you and they're just like, yeah, he's not a threat. He's just like a mad inventor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Dr. Emmett Brown from Back to the Future. Yeah.
No, it's more like you're responsible. Like, is that the right word?
Yes,
responsible.
So.
Yeah, in terms of you have been careful with the regulatory process. You've been in favor of a highly restrictive regulatory process, but also I heard you mention on another podcast that you check everything that Garfield AI does to make sure that it's correct, it's accurate, because you don't want to be in a position, I guess, where everything's going wrong and like it's like Frankenstein, you've invented this thing and it's just going crazy. So I think that's probably, everyone's been put at ease, I'll say.
Yeah, I agree. So I think that with any new technology, there's great responsibility on the people that bring forward applications of it to make sure that it's being built properly and it serves its purpose. To use your analogy, you've not created a Frankenstein's monster, or I don't know, you built Jurassic Park and all the dinosaurs getting out and eating all the punters. You don't want that. That's not what you're there to do. And I think this goes back to the sort of bit of a theme we spoke about last time, and I'm very keen on, and that is that I think with law tech products, having a lawyer involved from day one is super important, because it's not just building the law into the product, it's also building legal thinking into the product and the way lawyers think, and also very much the ethics and the regulation side of things into the product. I think that's sort of super important. I think you start from that basis, whatever you produce is going to be inherently more appropriate than if you tried to build something with a bunch of tech bros and just winged it out there. And I can see why that sort of approach might be great in non-law sectors, for just tech products and things. But I think for law tech, I think there's a sort of you need a different approach, a very much lawyer-driven approach.
Absolutely, yeah. I think you're right. It's been a very ethical way of doing it, and you've not tried to scale it as quickly as possible in order to, I don't know, like blow it out of proportion. You've done it in a really, like I say, responsible way. And I think people are like, yeah, you know what? This so-called Frankenstein is in the right hands.
Yeah, I'd like to go away from the word Frankenstein then. There was actually a lawyer at Baker McKenzie for many years. I don't think I'm speaking out of school here, but he was well known. He was a partner in, I think, the Munich office, and his surname was Frankenstein. And like all German lawyers, he had a PhD, so he was Dr. Frankenstein. And you can imagine the number of bad jokes he had to put up with from his Anglo-Saxon colleagues, poor guy. I might have perpetrated the odd joke to him from time to time as well. I feel quite guilty about that. So it's amazing how you can sneak the word monster into conversations. I think the ethics and the regulatory side of things is super important. And rather than sort of try to scale too prematurely, which is an error for any sort of tech company and definitely for a law tech company, we've actually had to go the opposite approach. We've had to try to throttle growth a bit over the last 2 months because we received so much publicity that we weren't expecting. We've had a lot of people try to log on that we were, a volume we weren't expecting, and we've been very careful on who we've let on the platform. And so some people who could join the platform, we've just not yet got around to letting on. And some people have tried to join the platform who are either not supposed to be on it because they're tourists and they don't really have a use case, or they might be inappropriate people. We've just not allowed on at all, obviously. So we've taken the opposite of a sort of normal tech company approach. Normally tech companies want to fill their boots, but we've taken very much the opposite approach, which is another benefit actually of not seeking any private equity or VC funding, because if we had those sort of people funding us, there'd be a lot of pressure on us to scale, and I don't think that's right for a product like this. The market is way too early for that sort of thing. Maybe in a number of years' time, when there's many of these products and so many things have been built that people understand the risks and they understand as well how to build these things properly, then that might be possible. But at the moment, I don't think it's a very good approach.
I totally agree with you. Join us in the next episode where we cover, is AI regulation killing legal innovation? I've wasted hours drafting contracts in my business. I've used clunky templates, even written from scratch, looked into paying lawyers. I've even tried ChatGPT, but it just didn't hit the mark. I knew there had to be a better way. And then I found this, Air Counsel, an AI contract drafter built by lawyers for lawyers. I spoke to the team at Air Counsel and they use it for their own legal work, and they're improving it every single day based on real life feedback. It actually does the heavy lifting for you. It researches your jurisdiction's laws and nuances and picks up local drafting quirks and even matches your tone and style. It then builds a ready-to-edit Word document with hyperlinks, numbering and a table of contents. It's so quick. I was so impressed when I used it. What I love about it is you can ask it to draft any contract you like, and it will even give you suggestions for appropriate terms or clauses that you'd never even think of. If you're still spending hours drafting contracts the old way, you don't have to anymore. This changed everything for me. If you're a lawyer, business owner, service provider, it might just do the same for you. And Air Counsel have been kind enough to sponsor this episode, and I'm so excited to spread the word. It's the most sophisticated contract drafting software I've used. To get your free 7-day trial, just go to the description of this episode. Give it a go, and don't forget to let me know how it changes your workflow.